Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working step by step through each of the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets that you can download in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide. It's full of hints and tips on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of the time on exam day. So how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam will give you those techniques. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it all there. If you can give me a like, that'd really be fab. And subscribe to my channel to keep updated. And so now we're going to continue with the specimen paper of the Grade 5 2017 practice papers, the last set of papers, and we're looking at question 3. So if you turn with me to page 23, we've got the transposition question to be looking at. And so it's quite a tricky subject, so I do suggest that you have your circle of fifths, key signatures written out, just to take that thinking away. We've got enough to be thinking about. And just take it a step at a time. So I presume that it's better for you to have a go. However, if you want to just listen to the first few tips first of all, then you can press pause and then try it on your own. So we need to transpose down a minor third. We're not required to add a key signature, but we're going to have to bear in mind what that key signature would be. So we start off by looking at what our key signature is to begin with. So whether it's a major or minor key is irrelevant. The accidentals will take care of all of that. We start off by thinking we're in C major with no sharps or flats, and a minor third down from C takes us to A. So now we need to be thinking in A major, which would have a key signature of F sharps, C sharps and G sharps. So although we don't have a key signature, we need to be bearing those in mind. So that's most of the thinking done. As we go along, we've just got to adjust all of these accidental signs in relation to this new key signature we're bearing in mind. So I'm just going to map out all the bits and bobs. So let's just get these nuts and bolts in place. We're going to put the bar lines in, and I'm keeping everything aligned directly underneath theirs, and that way I'm not going to get lost and lose track of which note I'm on. So although they've given us 2 lines, we only need to use 1 because they've used 1. And so the first job is to just get everything down 3 steps. We're moving each of these blobs down 3 steps. So time signature first of all. And then here we're going to go from the space above middle C to the space below middle C, 1, 2, 3. Now if you move up next door, that takes us to a C. Now it should be a C sharp because of the key signature that we're bearing in mind. However, here the E has been flattened, we've lowered it a semitone, so the C sharp lowered a semitone. C sharp lowered a semitone becomes C natural, so we can either just not bother to add the sharp in, or we can show that we followed that thought process through by putting a natural sign in brackets. It's not absolutely necessary that that's there, but we're showing that we've thought of it. So now we're going to go up a fifth, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, which takes us to a G, which should be a G sharp, applying this key signature as accidentals. However, here again, that's been lowered from a natural to a flat. It's been lowered by a semitone. So here we're going from a sharp implied to a natural. We're going from the G sharp that we should be adding, and then we're lowering it in conjunction with how they have. And so I'm just going to put the natural sign to show that I've dropped it a semitone rather than just forgotten to do something. So up a third again, nothing here. Just remember to add the dot. Same note, down a third. Now here, this is a little bit of a red herring because that's saying it's a B natural. It's just reminding you that that flat is no longer active because the bar line has cancelled it. So it's everything back to sort of the drawing board, the sort of the flat is gone. And so here the natural state of the key signature would be that's a G sharp, and so we just write back to the key signature, and it's just telling me that's no longer active. That's a very messy G, however. Scribbling as a chat. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go 1, 3, 5, 6. 1, 3, 5, 6. Down a third. Now here, that's an E that's been lowered a semitone by a flat. This should be a C sharp because of the key signature we've now moved into, but we need to lower it by a semitone so it becomes a C natural. So you can either just not put the sharp sign in, or you can show that you've done that. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5 takes us to a G. And again, it should be a G sharp, but it's lowered by a semitone because that B has been flattened. So this G sharp must be made natural. You don't have to put the natural sign in. It just shows that you've thought that through. Next door note down. Now that's an F here. Nothing's been changed, so we should be adding an F sharp to replace the key signature. So down a step, back up a step, back up a step. Now this is a G. It should be a G sharp, but because here we've got a flat which is lowering by a semitone, we need to lower the G sharp by a semitone. There we go, G sharp. I'm running out of space at this end. By a semitone down to G. And so you can either leave it as just plain old G, or you can show that with a natural sign to show that you've thought that process all the way through. Down a third, next door note down. Down again takes us to C, which should be a C sharp if we're adding what would be the key signature. But because this has been lowered by a semitone to a flat, this sharp is lowered by a semitone to a natural. So I'm going to just show that I've thought about that. You don't have to. You could have not put these natural signs in and that would still be the same thing. There we go, and that's all the thinking done. So now we've got to decide which way the stems go. So these will go up. These can go either way really, so I might just keep those down just for a change. That one has to go up, these have to go down. The middle is our deciding line, and then you take it from there. That's that, and then really that's enough to complete the question, but I'm just going to go the extra mile and just add in absolutely everything so that it's a faithful copy of their original, just to do everything I can to earn every single mark. There's time enough to do this, and so, oh, that's a quaver, I mustn't get that wrong. There we go, and that's that question completed. So let's now move on to the next question. So we're looking for page 24, question 4, and we're going to be referring back to this little extract of a Schubert song. And then we need to mark the score and show the answers to these questions below. So then, they've given us the first one, so they're showing us how they want you to mark the score and show the letter name whilst referring to the bar numbers. So let's carry on in that respect. So somewhere in bars 1 to 4 of the right hand piano part. So the right hand piano part will be this top line here, because that's the soprano voice part. That's the right hand piano part, that's the left hand piano part. We've got to find 3 notes next to each other that form the supertonic chord in the first inversion. So we're looking for the chord 2B here of A major. So let's first of all find out what that will be. So we're in A major, so chord 1 is based on A. So chord 2 is based on B. We've got B, D, F, there's our triad. And then there are our intervals. So we're looking for notes B, D and F with a D first of all. So let's have a look. In the right hand part of the piano part, bars 1 to 4. So we're looking for a D. So it could be there. That's a DFA though, so that's the wrong notes. We're looking for a D with a B and an F. Still not right. So here we are. So we've got a D, an F and a B. So there's 3 notes next to each other. So it's bar 3, so I'm going to write bar 3 here, and then I'll mark this as B to show that. Don't suppose you need to circle that really, I'm just emphasising that. So now bars 1 to 4 of the soprano part. So now we're looking at bars 1 to 4, but we're looking at this top line of music. And we're looking for a note that's the submediant of A major. So let's just mark out A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the submediant is the 6th, so we're looking for an F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're looking for a note F, or F sharp of course, because your key signature will take care of that. In the soprano part, and there we go. Just glancing through and we can see there's our note F, so it's bar 2, and we'll just mark that as a C. So there we go, that's the correct note circled now. And again in the soprano part we're looking for a note that is enharmonic equivalent to an A flat. So let's just look what an A flat could be. It could be a G sharp. Let's see if we can find any G sharps. Glancing through. Let's have a look. Here we go. Now don't forget the G sharp won't be shown, it'll just be a G because we're looking for a G and then it's sharpened by the key signature. And so here we are. So that's D answered, and we're showing that in bar 7. There we go. Let's look at the next one. So rewrite the last left hand piano chord of the extract. The left hand piano chord of the extract is this here, the last one. And we need to write it the same pitch, so just be careful that you don't jump any octaves. So we need to write it in the tenor clef, so that will be here is our middle C. And we need to put in our key signature, so because we're so high up, C, B, A, G, F has to be here, F sharps, C sharps, C, B, A, G, F, and so that's a G sharp, yeah. If you're not used to that, reading in that clef, you just got to work it out like I've just done. And so now let's have a look where we are. So here is middle C in the bass clef, so it's C, B, A, G, it's a 4th down, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our G, and then we need a 3rd lower. You can see we've just gone a 3rd lower here, so that's that. There we go. So let's turn over the page, so to page 25, but we still need to keep that little extract to hand. So a bit more of our performance directions and musical terms. We've got a mixture of Italian, French and German, and because this is a Schubert song, we're going to be looking at the German. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce these, my German being non-existent, I'm afraid. However, I do know that that means peaceful. And this one here means at a moderate speed. And there's nothing for it but to just revise those, group them thematically with all of the other grades to do with those subjects. And how you group them would perhaps be different than how I group them, whatever makes sense to you. It's just keeping on top of revising that, I'm afraid. So then, just a general question. The extract begins in the key of A major, which other key has the same key signature. So you could be saying, what's the related key? And we know that that's F sharp minor. Now we need to describe the chords marked X and Y, and they're shaded here. So it's a mixture of all of these notes added together to make the chord. And so we're in A major, so let's just map this out again. So we need 1, 2, 4 and 5 to choose from. 1 is based on A, B, C, D, E. Work out your triads, A, C, E, B, C, F. And if you find that difficult from the top of your head, just glance at your piano keyboard. And then we need to show root position, first inversion, second inversion. So bar 2, chord X, we've got a D, F, A. So we know that it's a chord 4. And the root note is the D. So it's in root position. There, the bass note is our root. So let's look at chord Y in bar 4. We've got a G, E, G, B. And so E, G, B is chord 5, but the G was in the bass, if you'll notice. And so it's a 5B. There we go. Let's move on. Name the ornament in the soprano part of bar 3. So looking at bar 3 here. So notice there's no little line through it, so it's not the crushed note or the acciaccatura. This is the appoggiatura or the leaning note where we divide the time equally rather than crushing it. So it's an appoggiatura, that's the classical term. Double P, double G. Alternatively, you could say leaning note. So now we're asked to give the name of the voice part that lies between the tenor and the bass, that middle range between tenor and bass, and that's the baritone. Just a bit of general knowledge there. And then we've got some general orchestral questions here. Name a standard orchestral instrument that could play the soprano part of the extract so that it sounds at the same pitch. So we're looking for a soprano instrument, and so it depends if you're choosing woodwind. Your soprano high instrument would be, you could say flute. You wouldn't say piccolo, that's a piccolo couldn't get that low necessarily, particularly down here, so that wouldn't do. So you could say flute, you could say oboe, or you could say clarinet. Any one of those would be fine. If you were choosing strings, the obvious one would be the violin. It may be that a viola could get that low as well, or that high I should say, that middle. There we go, sort of a lower, higher as it were. Violin's the obvious choice. Or if you were choosing brass, you would say trumpet. There we go. So let's choose one of these instruments here that is not a transposing instrument. and that would be the bassoon. A clarinet transposes to B flat, I think a trumpet transposes to B flat, I think, and a double bass actually transposes an octave lower, so it sounds an octave lower than you play, so bassoon is the answer there. So that's the end of that question, and so that's the end for this video also. We'll look at the next questions in the next video. I do hope that that's helpful to you. If you can give me a like, that'd be really great. That'd be encouraging to me. Thank you. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. Please do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the information there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.